Alright, hi, welcome to SAS X6. So, I've been going at these every morning. Today, I'm going to talk about thought traps. This has been quite an explode domain, quite an explode meta domain. It's quite applicable for people who are sort of prone to think a lot. I am one of those persons. I mean, if there was a modern version of a thinker, I could play that role. Yeah, I could do that. So, thinking is one of my uh, thinking is one of my pastimes, not by volition. Of course, I do think. I mean, I wouldn't say it's overthinking. In my org mode captures or in my to-do list, whenever I have something that I want to think about, I have a separate thunk section, THUNK, uh, so that I could offload my thoughts, my thinking to a future point in time. A thunk basically, when we in the context of a programming language Lisp, is basically a piece of computation, a piece of program, a piece of execution with its context, as in its state or its environment, stored along with the procedure. So that piece of environment plus program, to be handled later on. That's that thunk. That thunk. I have a section, explicit section of thunking things in the future, deferring them, so that I don't overload myself in the moment. So all these tools, I began wondering what. So of course, if you read books, Thinking Fast and Slow, there's a whole lot of books along these lines of how you should think and how do you naturally think, what are the ways of thinking and stuff. But a natural mind that sort of thinks that yeah, you should be devising your own methods and testing things out, and experimentation is sort of primal for me. Experimentation on paradigms and ways of thought that have been spread out there. That's what my leading indicator is of what I should be doing. So experimentation. I am already quite prone to thinking. So there are a couple of tools that help you not think a lot. There's of course journaling, there's blogging, there's this video essays like this. That help put a definite end, a definite path, to sort of freeze your thought in a moment and sort of take a snapshot of it. So why is taking a snapshot of your thought patterns sort of nice? It helps you analyze yourself. Of course, a thought is a projection of yourself in the moment. A thought does represent who you are in a way, in a very abstract manner. So the way I speak, the way I carry myself, the the things that I'm thinking about definitely say a lot about my personality, say a lot about anyone's personality. So why I sort of am making this video is it's sort of tiring as well sometimes, and it gets a little boring sometimes. People who think a lot, it's like whenever I have a conversation with anyone, it's always very difficult to be surprised, because the overthinking mind has already computed a whole bunch of scenarios and categorized all the unrules, the event unrules, and everything's already been sorted out. So overthinking in that way sort of does make life a little boring. The amount of surprises, what people do, what happens around you, that sort of yeah, that do really surprise me. That just decreased. Life in general is more monotonous if you think a lot. So One more skill that I've been exploring actively is trying to guardrail parts of my brain from each other. So actively forgetting stuff whenever I'm in a certain mood. Let's say when I'm with friends, or just I don't know, in a context where thinking is not going to help at all. I don't know. Watch some massy Bollywood movie. Yeah, you shouldn't be thinking when you're watching that. Uh, that sort of stuff. So those guardrails. I also have a very uh, I don't know. I'd probably say a very annoying habit of not being able to listen to a song without following the lyrics literally. If I do not literally follow along with the lyrics of a song, I am sort of, yeah, doomed. I'm sort of doomed to be confused by the song and not relate to it and not be able to enjoy the tuning, the tunes, the rhythm. Yeah. So thought in itself becomes sort of a bondage, a chain for me, uh, to entertain other thoughts. This idea of being tied to my thoughts all the time. I mean, I have this inner voice, so I yeah. Okay, so my inner voice is sort of always there. It's never there. Sometimes I speak in English, sometimes it's Hindi, probably never Marathi. My mother tongue is Marathi, but then it's mostly English because most of the time, whatever I do alone, it's being done in English. The reading, writing, studying, all the competence, farming, it's all in English. So, uh, yeah, I mean, I mostly think in English. So my inner thought, my inner voice is also in English, and there's a very thin line between it being helpful and it sort of taking you down a spiral. So those thought traps. Just yesterday, I've been. So I usually have a very paradoxical mind. I The nature of truth for me is sort of very vague as of now. Uh, Vague in the sense, my axioms, my axioms are under my skepticism. I mean, I hold a healthy skepticism for all of my axioms. I hold a healthy amount of skepticism for all of my axioms. So, uh, if I do not track anything like this, so if I say do not have video essays or blogs or personal journals, I might run around in abstract circles. So that is one of the things that happens to me. There was a period of time I started blogging and logging and journaling heavily around 5 years ago. I think when I was 19, actively doing this, uh, to sort of log everything. I started doing that when I was 19. So I'm 25 right now. It's been 6 years. So there was a moment of time around 10 months from 22 to 23, I think, around that time, latter half of 22 to sort of early 23, where I was not journaling, not blogging, not doing anything in terms of logging my pursuits, because I was sort of fed up with the overthought nature of my mind. And yeah, that was a miserable time. So I, as a person, I'm just prone to overthinking a lot, and if I do not have a way to chart it all down somewhere, and to have my plans in front of me, and to be able to see them in third person without having to carry the context myself all the time, uh, it gets a little too chaotic in there. So yeah, but then I also started thinking, if I hadn't started blogging or writing, or yeah, just I don't know, I just given up the urge early on, I probably wouldn't be thinking so much. And I mean, people are doing fine without thinking a lot. So what is the point of all of this? So I was really wondering if whatever I'm doing right now, the videos, is the writing, the journaling, is that really helpful to me, or is it the one enabling my overthinking patterns? Because right now, meditation again is sort of just me going on a thinking stroll. uh, yeah, it's always like, even if I'm focusing on my breath, it begins with an inner speech, a thought that says focus on your breath. There's always this internal commentary, and it's not the monkey mind. I would say it's sort of a more like a companion sitting over my shoulder. That sort of inner voice. It's not like yeah, it's nothing like too chaotic in there. Not like that, but it's mostly. I wonder what thinking might be for people who sort of first of all, I wonder what different modes of existence are there for that inner voice. I personally don't remember having it completely silent and being conscious. So I either have to have a very vivid external input, sensory input, to sort of quiet it down. So one way of doing that for me is sort of nature, watching the clouds, the trees swaying, getting on a high-rise building, and looking around when the sunlight interplaces with the clouds, the way the patterns form and everything. That is very stimulating visually for me. Plus the wind, and of course, put on some good old music. I am a sort of a Bollywood Renaissance man, so early 2000s, that sort of music. Put that on. That's when I sort of noticed that my thinking mind is sort of quiet. So it's like whenever there's whenever there's this highly vivid external sensory input, my internal internal thoughts quiet down. So I wonder why is that? I wonder why is that? And this is all anecdotal. So I am deliberately not reading up on neuroscience because I believe in experimentation. Of course, I believe in standing on the shoulders of giants. I do want to do that. But then I also believe in sort of healthy experimentation, vague experimentation, just having fun. And I have a domain that I stand on the shoulders of giants for. That this computer science, this tech stuff. That's where I read. That's where I study. So inventing computer science from scratch. I don't know, discovering my own electron someday. It's quite impractical. But neuroscience, conducting anecdotal experiments, yeah, it's pretty handy. You can be pretty quick with it. The iteration loop is pretty small. It's not going to eat away at my life. So this my personal my brain my brain is my thought lab. I mean, I can run a lot of experiments how I feel, and anecdotes are the results, the way I log them. I try to be as impartial in my documentations. Of course, I don't rely on shallow. Let's not say shallow. I don't rely on abstractions like feelings. Of course, I try to be very objective in terms of how I express whatever I don't want to say feeling. how I'm how I'm perceiving things around me. So I try to be sort of objective with it. Uh, Again, to be objective about yourself is again a thought pattern that is sort of really consuming, I would say. So I am sort of prone to all of these thought traps. A lot of them, a lot of my thunks are not quite useful. They're mostly they're mostly things that fizzle out. That's why I put them in a thunk, and I garbage collect them after a point in time if I feel like that should not be that thunk should not be thought again for. So I'm at that point where I have to prioritize what to think about it, what not to think about, and that begins from an acceptance of that begins from sort of an acceptance of being okay with not thinking everything right away or having unthought thoughts at a moment in time. Unless you have a system for storing your unthought thoughts. So I created a thunk capture system in my Emacs org mode GTD system. A capture for that, a thunk, and I garbage collect it weekly based on if I want to think about it. If I really want to think about it, or it's not worth it. Sometimes what happens is I get the answer in a couple of days, yeah, without even trying. So there's no point in explicitly thinking about a lot of things. That's why it's been working. I mean, yeah. So a great way to avoid thought traps recently has been to capture these thunks. a thunk being the procedure that you want to carry your mind through, as in what you wanted to think about, what scenario you wanted to think about, plus the context around the procedure. Context could be as detailed or as yeah as abstract as you would like it to be, but then you will have to expand as much when you actually force the thought, force the computation of your thunk. Yeah, delaying that thunk up until a moment in time, let's say end of the week, so I just put on some old rock. Again, the kind of rock I listen to is 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Yeah, so that's the kind of rock I listen to. I put on some old rock and I walk around, and that's when I process those thunks. So that's like my cognitive garbage collection day or something. Uh, yeah, that's when I decide what's worth thinking. So this idea of thinking, what is worth thinking, is an interesting one. Uh, it only comes after you have thought a lot, and it only comes after you have understood that not everything is worth thinking. Because if there's truly, okay, there's different kind of infinities. There's different kind of infinities. There's of course your natural number infinity. There's your real number infinity, lf naught, lf1. There's a whole bunch of other mathematical infinities, but this is sort of an abstract. I wouldn't say infinity. It's like you cannot sort of you can only represent it symbolically. You cannot sort of course, an uncountable infinity is not doing justice to it. It's a very abstract one. So what I would say is it's the way my mind works. I think it could be endless. I don't think I'm ever reaching an axiom if I sit still and if I meditate. If I close my eyes, if I just sit still, and if I just go on a meditation spree, as in let me think whatever I want to, and let's say I have all of my tooling with me. Let's say I have an internal Emacs system where I can capture stuff, where I can build knowledge graphs and do everything. And based on all of my experience up until my point in time, I don't think I'll be able to reach enlightenment. So I don't think I'll be able to quiet the mind. So yeah, of course, quieting the mind is not one of my primary intentions. It's like it's not one of my goals. It's yeah. I mean, my inner voice is pretty good. I'm okay with it. I'm more than okay with it. But yeah, the point is, there's an overload and overdrive sometimes that I need to control. So that the thought trap, the tooling for that is sort of yeah, interesting. One is of course delaying the thunks that I told you, and forcing the computation at a weekend or something, or let's see, actively accepting that you overthink a lot, and yeah, then whenever a new thought comes in, you'll be like, yeah, what's new? uh, yeah, actively accepting that you overthink a lot is sort of disarming yourself. Mostly it arises from, I think, watching a lot of Batman and being prepared. Yeah, but then it seeps into your usual things in life, your daily things. uh, just yeah, I mean, who wants to listen to music with literally following the lyrics? That is one of my worst faults. That's been a curse, a sort of a curse, to not be able to enjoy music. Yeah, that's why non-lyrical stuff, melodic stuff, rhythmic stuff is what I have to rely upon at the end of the day, unless I really find a song that I lyrically relate to in the moment. There's a lot, but there's a whole bunch that I don't with. So yeah, that is quite a challenge. So yeah, anecdotally, breaking down the nature of mind and stuff like that. Uh, okay, if I am in the business of cognitive engineering, I will have to sort of sacrifice my mind for that. Yeah, overthinking. So, thought traps. How do I actually deal with them? Even these SaaSes, serendipity as services, they're a way to detox my mind. They're a way to daily detox my mind. Every morning I do these with morning coffee and L-theanine to sort of understand what's actually going through it, and when can I actually stop. So if I do not have a limit to these, I could sort of ramble on for hours, of course, unless I am physically tired of speaking. My voice box is physically tired. I probably could go on. Even after that, I could probably keep on writing if I wanted to, thinking with writing. And yeah, even after that, even when say let's say I decide to rest, I could keep on thinking. So I am I probably should deliberately do something like this someday, where I should just think a lot, force myself to think. I have these days where I induce burnouts, where I deliberately induce burnouts to test my thresholds, test my cognitive thresholds. That could probably be another video to test your cognitive thresholds. So yeah, I'll caffeinate a lot. I'll tune out the useless activities. So I'll probably skip dinner as well. Usually I don't. Okay, as of right now, I only have one meal a day every day. So it's just dinner, a big dinner. So I'm kind of an OMAD kind of guy, one meal a day kind of guy. I get my intake daily. Micro, I have my micro and macronutrients sort of fulfilled. My hydration is sort of good. So yeah, I sort of optimize the day around being productive and being cognitively occupied the whole day. So those days of testing your cognitive thresholds, of sort of overhauling the engine, uh, yeah, those are fun. Those are fun. I probably should do that sometime. In a okay, I cannot do it in the opposite manner. As in, you cannot say that I don't have to cross a threshold a day. Let's say you ask me not to cross a threshold, as in you ask me to relax. That's very difficult for me. As in, I cannot relax. So there's a couple of things that I've been recently discovering that help me relax. But something like yeah, if you give me a cognitive threshold that I should not cross for a day, as in you force me to relax, that's not going to happen. I probably haven't relaxed in a while, mentally speaking. Relaxed in the sense I'm not thinking about the relaxation itself. It's not an activity. It happens casually. So that probably hasn't happened in a while. Uh, I'm not complaining, but it's just an observation, an anecdotal observation. Yeah. So uh, all of this ecosystem around me of capturing my thoughts, of building. I have a VPS on which I'm hosting Superbase, and I'm planning on indexing my videos, LLM processed transcripts, and yeah, having metadata attached to it, sort of play with my own thoughts. It's sort of over engineering the brain around you, the thought. It's probably a compensation pattern for not being able to relax. But then I'm going to exploit it. Why not exploit it? Yeah, let's dive deeper. Let's delve deeper, as an LLM would say. Uh, yeah, as an LLM would say. That's a new way of saying things. I probably should try that somewhere, as an LLM would say. I should, yeah, LM vocab is sort of interesting. I probably should do that, as an LLM would say. Uh, that is new age writing. Definitely new age writing. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so thought traps. So the best way to disarm my mind against being affected by this by these thought traps is sort of being okay with them, and that has been a difficult shift. So a lot of the ways that my mind has offloaded a whole bunch of cognitive tension and stress uh, is by accepting that it is the norm. So the moment that I accept that it's okay not to be cognitively relaxed, or it's okay not being it's okay being cognitively stressed from time to time, or for long stretches, it's immediately relaxed. So that's one thing that helps. But then the act of accepting that in itself, you would sort of reason, you sort of begin reasoning why you should accept it in the first place, and why you should believe me. So skepticism is sort of a healthy tool, but then it can also be, you need to decide when to skepticize, and when to take leaps of faith or trust whatever the other person is saying. So that is another thought pattern, the active triage of when to skepticize and when to just believe. Yeah, that is another thought pattern. All of these thought patterns. This is another thought pattern of thinking about thoughts. This meta thought of thinking about thoughts. Yeah, that's why being active sort of helps. That's why, I mean, I got my MMA routines, my weights, iron in the gym is sort of helpful. Barefoot hikes. Yeah, that sort of calms me down. So what I've noticed is whenever I exert myself physically, I sort of mentally rest as well. So it's always vivid sensory input, vivid senses that help calm my internal thoughts down. Yeah. Why do I create this video? So if you're watching this, you might be prone to overthinking as well. Uh, yeah, this was just a way to put out there that you are not alone, and there are ways to deal with it in a fun manner. You don't have to mark yourself, you don't have to diagnose yourself with ADHD or something, uh, or being a neurodivergent, or I don't know what else. You don't need to explicitly mark yourself that. You don't need to self-diagnose. There are ways to deal with it, and plus, okay, diagnosis in itself signifies that something is wrong. It probably is not. It's probably just the way you are. You probably just need to harness it properly. So yeah, diagnosis in itself, it's diagnosing a state, uh, uh, a malefic state. Yeah, it's for malefic states, diagnosing something. I would say, I would say, try to be more of an observer. I think that would yeah, rather than trying to tag yourself with something malefic, try and observe your state in a neutral manner, and then see what you want to do with it. That probably helps reduce it. And yeah, that's how you avoid thought traps. So that's it for today. This was the Bitmage, the founder of Convert Industries. I philosophically ramble here. I engineer cognitive infrastructure. So today was about sort of putting it out there as to why my implicit incentives for doing what I do out here. Uh, but I also technically explore a whole bunch of stuff on our partner channels, the Bitmage. So do like, share, subscribe if you like these sort of videos. Soon I will also be posting a bunch of newsletters that summarize my evolution of thought over the week. Yeah, let's over engineer the shit out of this. Why not? Let's over engineer the shit out of your cognitive infrastructure. Why the hell not? I could probably also build a framework, an open source framework where you get to record videos, you get to write blogs. Of course, why not build your own dragstore, have embeddings and stuff? Yeah, analyze everything, build a time series, cluster shit, unsupervised learning, and bunch of tags, and a whole bunch of shit I could do with it. Why not over engineer the shit out of it and see what you actually are? Let's drive it with data, and see what the mind is capable of, what sort of embeddings arise. Why not create a data set, a rambling data set? Yeah, but then how do I depersonalize it is the next question. How do I depersonalize the data set? I don't want it to be highly biased to my own thoughts. So I'll have to sort of learn how to act a little. Yeah. Yeah. Creating data sets sounds interesting. Yeah. Probably should do that sometime. But yes. Uh yeah. I think that's it for today. This was the Bitmage. And I'm the founder of Conver Industries. So check both of them out. That's the Bitmage. That's Conver. Do check those both out, and like, share, subscribe if you're yeah. Okay, what I can promise, of course, is sort of offbeat thoughts is something that I can promise. You're definitely not going to find something that's already out there, because I'm experimenting. Whenever it comes to this domain, I do not read books. I I I do not. I let it go. I let my mind fly free. I do not restrict myself to not being wrong. I do not hold myself back when it comes to this, the cognitive aspects of my life. Yeah, I sort of experiment, and I'm not influenced by existing influence in the sense I'm not I don't actively choose to be influenced by existing ways of existing. So whatever I track philosophically here is actually purely anecdotal and experience, and maybe very right or very wrong. Plus, I do not believe in the concept of right and wrong when it comes to very abstract things like these. It's just mostly observations, just journals. So you can sort of rely upon me being off topic, offbeat all the time, never on point, always beating around the bush. Because I don't know why. I don't know even if I want to beat the bush. That's the point. That's the kind of mindset I have in here. On the Bitmage, I do have a purpose. I do have a definite domain that I revolve around, that I want to convey. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. This was I'm saying it for the third time, right? Yeah. See you in the next one.